Hello, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Challenge Ride or Dies episode 9 recap. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I drop some more great content. So, I just wanted to get right into this recap. The episode started off with Nelson and Olivia instantly making up. And what they're making up for is the previous episode is when Nelson had a choice with the safe dagger and he chose to save Fessy and Mariah instead of his new budding showmance, Olivia. So it just shows them kissing right away. And then Johnny basically made a comment alluding to, like, you didn't even make him work for it, Olivia. Um, Fessy was having a conversation with Nelson in a scene where he was thanking him for saving him, but he was also expressing both to his partner and also saying in the confessional that he wants to make his own way and he wants to win. And he was talking about he thinks that he's right up there with people like Jordan and Bananas, but he doesn't have a W under his belt. And Mariah was basically consoling him for that, and she was saying that she considers him a winner. He just does not have that accolade yet. He was actually crying. Do I take the crying as genuine? It could be. Not really gonna harp too much on that part of it. So it shows like Bananas talking to Nanny and saying he's surprised that he's made it this far without really being targeted. And he was like basically saying, am I losing my edge? There was a Casey Kenny scene, and I was like, wow, Casey and Kenny are on this season. I forgot. Um, and Casey actually made a comment saying she forgets that her brother is here, and I'm like, I forget that both y'all are here because they're not giving y'all the airtime. It was interesting that this episode, it seems like all these couples and all these pairs that have not really been getting too much airtime, it was kind of like, hey, just a reminder that all these people are still here. So there's a couple of other scenes that I'm just going to skip because they were just like that. They were kind of filler. But it was okay. I understood why. It had a scene of Jordan and Tori wrestling on the ground. Tori says it'd be nice to rekindle. She said this, I think, in the confessional. I don't know what she said to him. But what we saw in the episode was her in the confessional saying that it's a thought that she had in her head that it would be nice to rekindle with Jordan. And Jordan said in the confessional, he used some key words that I was paying attention to, that he finds safety and comfort in going back to an ex, but that he's not looking to rekindle. So we don't really know the timeline of all of this. Everyone speculates, of course. I've been seeing it in the forums, conversations that everybody's having, because this sparked a lot of debate, but we don't really know the order and what was asked. But just based on what was presented, it was made to look like they were on a different page. It was made to look like Tori wanted to get back into a relationship with him, and he was just interested in the being in bed naked and snuggling, apparently, is what they were doing. I mean, I believe what I believe, and other people believe what they believe. So Jordan called it a comfort zone. I have written in my notes. It showed Nerys describing her situation with Jordan. She was talking to Olivia, and she was saying that she wants to get to know him, but she doesn't want to get to know him at the expense of hurting somebody else, referring to Tori. And Olivia was basically like, you're not friends with Tori. You don't owe Tori anything. Thought that was interesting. So it then shows Nerys making out with Jordan. You know, they've gotten in bed together. They were kissing. That's what they showed us. It showed briefly Bananas and Mariah kissing as well. I follow Wes's Patreon, as you guys know now, And Wes has said, I didn't watch his recent recap yet, but I know last week he said that that was a significant relationship in the house, that he's surprised that they're not giving more airtime. And I'm kind of surprised too, because Bananas is like a challenge staple, and we don't know how many seasons that he's going to do after this. So we get to the daily of this episode, and TJ says it's a mini final. I like the mini finals that they throw in the season because it shows you where everybody's at, who has an advantage, what everybody's capabilities are. It's not a full final, but it gives you some core elements of what you need to be able to complete a final, which is puzzle solving ability and endurance and lifting heavy things. That was essentially what this is all about. Lucky for Fessy, there was no eating involved in this one. So TJ says it's going to be important to win because it'll be the heaviest power that they've had so far. Fessy and Mariah win, and it seems like they win in fairly dominant fashion. The only team that was really messing with them was Nelson and Nurys, but they messed up on that stacking puzzle where they took very long, and they ended up losing. And it showed certain teams were struggling. As I expected, a Jordan and Anissa team, Anissa's like, everyone knows my strong point isn't running. And I'm like, it kind of needs to be. Like, I personally like Anissa a lot. Anissa's really cool. But I'm also like, how can you come on a present day challenge and not be able to run and expect to win a final? That's the tough part. Anyways, it shows Horacio getting frustrated with his partner Olivia because she also didn't really run, I guess. And at the end of the challenge, he walked away from her after they found out that Fessy and Mariah had won. And he said to the confessional, like, that's just how I handle things. It'd be better for both of us that I don't respond in the moment. I understand him actually, because I'm a person who, when I get angry, I, in the past, said things quickly that I did not want to say, and they were really harsh. So I have started to, when possible, remove myself from a situation until enough time has passed for me to think clearly. However, this is not a one-size-fits-all situation. There are times when you do have to be present in the moment and recognize what the other person needs from you and be able to at least communicate a little bit to say, I'm a little bit upset right now, but you did a good job. Can I please just have a little bit of time to just cool off and gather my thoughts, and we will talk a little later? And that could have served a big purpose, because when you walk away, it's a big deal. And then also being in a show that at this point in time was still a partner's challenge, when people see that there's a weakness between two partners, now you're at a disadvantage, because now there's a bunch of hungry wolves seeing that y'all are fighting and making it a thing. Which, by the way, okay, I'm getting to that at the end. So this advantage is actually one of the most significant advantages I ever remember in challenge history, which is that they now split into teams, and Fessy and Mariah each become team captains, where they get to pick the team that they are taking to the end. Wow, man, that's a huge advantage. And usually when they do something like that, TJ is like, you got 5 minutes. He gave them the night and revisited it the next day. So they have time. They have time to sit down with each other and discuss what's going on. And this is the first time we saw a little bit of tension between the two of them, which I want to mention that Mariah went on a little bit of a Twitter rant where she said that she thought Fessy was a real ride or die, but he proved that he wasn't, because once they split, he went for his own best interests. So I don't have the list of the two teams, but Fessy's team is stacked, man. Fessy's team is so stacked. He has his team has a lot of the vets and a lot of the vet males, especially. A lot of the vet males. He definitely made sure to pick bananas. He definitely made sure to pick bananas on that team. And I think that was a big thing that they were arguing, because he did not want her to have both Jordan and bananas, which, I think is pretty obvious. But the thing is, I think she's at a disadvantage, being that he's played the game before. So he kind of knows better when it comes to those picks. So his team, at least the way that it looks, is a power team. Another thing that I was going to say about his team, Aneesa is on his team. I know that people are politically correct now, but if this was back in the day, I can hear Kenny being like, we got to trim the fat. Nobody's going to say that now, but I think that teams are going to be thinking about who is on their team and who they would like to see go home before they make the final, because we've seen teams lose finals before because of players individually not being able to make it through the final. So we'll see what happens with that. But the challenge is back, y'all. The challenge is back. This was an interesting and exciting episode. And don't worry, I'm not done yet. I still have to get to the main theme of this particular episode. Jordan and Tori have an argument at the end about Jordan and Nurys doing whatever they did, their adult business. Jordan said it reminds him of the end of their relationship. So this has sparked so much debate online. And the debate is because Tori was like, I was naked in bed with you, wrestling. She didn't say that, but I assume that to mean that they hooked up. And then I guess after hooking up, he went over and did whatever he did with Nurys. And people are saying he said, I love you. He wants to see her after the show. I didn't hear any of that. I heard the I love you. I didn't hear the he needs to see her after the show part. The thing is, they made an adult decision, the two of them. You kind of set yourself up in a way, even if you want to get back in a relationship with an ex, you kind of set yourself up in a way by being intimate with them without having like a clear parameter of either this is just going to be a fling, a hookup, or this is going to be a doorway to getting back into a relationship. Now, I know that there's people who say Jordan shouldn't have gone there if he wanted to get with somebody else. But I don't necessarily think it's that black and white. I think it's messy. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think it's a messy thing to do, obviously, to hook up in any kind of a way with an ex-fiance that you're living with for this game, and then to hook up with somebody else in that same season. I think that's a messy situation for sure, and I wouldn't put myself in that type of position if I were him. Do I think that it's wrong? They're two consenting adults. They did what they wanted to do. I feel like this is the same thing that I said with Monty and Taylor on Big Brother. They did what they wanted to do. Unfortunately for Tori, I guess you could call it a consequence to that, which is that maybe she feels heartbroken or stupid, like she got played for the fool, because she thought that he was going to only be hooking up with her. But I mean, she hooked up with Fessy. She hooked up with Jordan's doppelganger in the following season. They're over. So even though, like, I don't even know if I want to say morally, but I guess morally, even though morally it would have been better for him to either say, let's draw this clear boundary with each other and then go after Nerys, or however that happened. But this is real life. People don't usually do things in that way, and especially not on these TV shows. We don't usually see that in general. A lot of people would just go with the flow in his type of position. Would I do that? No, but I don't expect people to have the same kind of standards as me. And I know that if I was Tori and I was in a situation where I was feeling like I wanted my ex back, before I got intimate with that ex, I would tell them that. I would be like, you know what? I have to draw this line. I have to make this boundary. I have feelings for you. And I don't want to do this unless you feel the same way. And if you are willing to be exclusive with me while we figure this thing out, if that's what I wanted. If not, it's kind of fair game. That means you can do whatever you want afterwards, and he can do whatever he wants afterwards. And in fairness, Tori got with Jordan. I mean, she says after. So let's go with after. She got with Jordan during a season that she actually came into the season with somebody. Then she got with Fessy. So it's just, to me, it's kind of fair game is what I'm trying to say. So we finally got to this Jordan Tori episode. I feel like the show was building us up for that for 9 episodes. Finally happened. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I'm sure that we are going to get a little further into that. But in terms of the game itself, it's exciting that now we broke up this ride or die thing and we have these 2 separate teams, and we're going to see how that situation plays out. It looks like somebody else is coming back from what it was showing on the preview. So we'll see what happens, but it's been an exciting season so far. I've really loved this season, and it looks like it's going to be getting even better. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching my recap, and I will talk to all of y'all